Much.
You guys want to start?
You start. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, good morning. My name is Balachandra. So, I have pursued my BTech Mechanical Engineering from Shastra University, Tanjavur. After post my engineering, I started work in a edtech startup company. This is just my work around. So, apart from this, I'm really interested in speed cubing. I can solve Rubik's cube under 12 seconds, and I'm really into it.
With your eyes closed?
I've done that once actually.
Okay.
I blindfolded.
So what is the funda? What is the funda behind Rubik's cube solving?
Okay, so the funda is you solve it by layers. So there are 3 layers. It's not like so there are 2 methods. There's the basic level method and there's an advanced method to it. So in the basic level method, what you do is you solve by layer. There are 6-7 steps to it. So you first you choose one particular color, say green or white, and you do a cross. It's like okay, I'll just deorganize it. So basically, there are 3 types of pieces in a Rubik's cube. There is the center piece which does not move, which is connected to a core, and there is edge pieces which has 2 colors to it, and there are corner pieces just 3 colors to it. And so
is that always true?
Sir?
I mean, I'm assuming if you're a Rubik's cube fan, you would solve like a 4x4.
Yes, I've done.
So is the center fixed in all cases then?
Yes, there are. It depends on how many pieces are there to the center. For 3x3 it is fixed, the center does not move, but for a 4x4 there'll be 4 pieces connected to the center, as in like the center pieces there'll be 4, does not move.
Oh, I'm sorry, but being a Rubik's cube solver myself, the center pieces move in a 4x4, so you have to be careful about the relative positions of the centers also. But I mean, yeah, go on. You're saying that you solve it layer by layer.
Okay, so you solve it layer by layer. First you solve the edge pieces, make a cross, and then solve the corner pieces and finish it up in the first layer. And then you move on to the edge pieces of the second layer and then go to the
What
third
is the
layer.
first layer? Sorry.
So there are 3 separate layers, right?
Okay.
If you imagine a cube, it's like there are 3 layers to it.
Okay.
So we call this layer, the down, whatever you pick as the bottom layer is your first layer, and then the middle will be your second.
Okay, so you solve the bottom layer and get all 4 colors going.
No, so imagine a square. A square has say 9 smaller squares in it. So you first solve a plus. So which is the center piece. You should connect the center pieces with the edge pieces. So you make a plus kind of a thing.
Okay.
So that will be your first step. So after that you finish your corner pieces. So corner pieces has 3 colors, right? So say if you're picking up white, so white is connected with red, blue, green, and yellow will be the opposite side of the white. So you connect your center piece to the edge piece and make a plus initially.
Okay.
So after you finish that, you finish your corner pieces with algorithms. Obviously, there are algorithms to perform that, and finish off your first layer.
Is there no intuitive way to solve it?
It is there, but I would say it's pretty much like it is a bit difficult. Like when I started solving, my friend was solving, so I got intrigued. I wanted to learn how. I did not sit and figure out how to solve. Actually, it's actually better to do that, but I did not do it. I went to the internet and saw how to do it and just started doing it. Okay. And I would actually say that it's better to sit and figure out and do it. It makes you get an intuitive idea of actually how the cube works. Eventually, if you have a lot of experience in it, you get to understand how the pieces move around in a cube and things like that.
I'm curious, like when did this become a thing in the world? Rubik's cubes.
It's still not a thing in the world. It's like people are speed cubing is a hobby which is not many people know, or probably out of 110 know about, and only 2 involved in it.
I think he's thinking more in terms of when was the first Rubik cube.
Yes, why is it called a Rubik's cube? Like, I mean,
the history of the Rubik.
Is there a Mr. Rubik who invented the cube?
Yes, Rubik made this puzzle called Rubik's cube, and it was commercialized in around the 80s. So it was.
Can you tell me like one very famous pop culture reference of how a Rubik cube was used?
I know that it was used in a lot of ads, but not
in a movie. It's a very interesting movie.
Yeah, it was Pursuit of Happiness.
That's the one that I had in mind.
I really liked that particular scene where even though he was trying to grab that opportunity, he had that one opportunity with that guy and he tried to grab it.
So this is a scene in which this is the guy who's basically he's poverty stricken. Yeah. He's trying to get into trading. Should be of interest to both you gentlemen. And he shares a cab ride with the guy in a trading company, and he solves the cube and therefore impresses the gentleman to get an interview for an internship. Nice. That's how the story moves.
So he grabbed that one opportunity with what he knew or what he comfortable with. So I really like that particular scene in Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Are even numbered cube things tougher than odd numbered cube things? 3 and 5 are easier than 4. Is that true?
To some extent, yes, because no, 4x4 actually has a 3x3 stage in it. It's like you solve.
Is 5x5 easier than 4x4?
Actually, I never solved a 5x5, so I cannot say
Okay.
anything.
Because I've heard
solved
people
only
say that
3x3
if
and 4x4.
the center pieces are anchored, it is that little bit easier.
Sorry?
The center pieces are anchored.
Yes.
That's that little bit easier. Is that true?
To some extent, but I cannot say that I'm not.
You know what parity errors are in solving?
Yeah. So in 4x4 there are parity errors wherein the pieces might be flipped. So when you solve in 3x3 you do not find a parity error. Parity error is nothing but say in 4x4 in the last stage of solving there are 4 layers in that. So in the last stage, the final stage. So when you think that you have completed the cube, there will be 2 pieces which will be actually flipped.
Okay.
Say suppose. All the other pieces are solved, only the 2 opposite edges are flipped. 2 set of opposite edges are flipped. So you do a particular algorithm to flip that edge.
Unflip it, okay.
Without altering other pieces.
Okay.
So there's a parity error in that.
So there's a fix to
that with an algorithm. So there is an OLL parity and a PLL parity to it. OLL is the orientation of the last layer and PLL is permutation of the last layer.
Okay.
So there's 2 things. Again, this comes in the advanced part of the Rubik's Cube. So you have in OLL for.
I think we'll. I don't think even if you explained it to us,
It's very difficult.
We'll understand.
without seeing the cube.
Yeah,
At least I
if
cannot
you can draw it
imagine
out or something. If you had some papers here, you could maybe draw it out and show us. But what else do you do?
So apart from Rubik's Cube, I'm into chess actually. So this is very recent. When I was my final year of my college, I was bored and then picked up. I came across a video in YouTube and started getting involved in chess. I play a lot of online blitz chess actually. So I started following a bit.
who's your favorite player?
I would say Magnus Carlsen right now. The reason being actually a lot of players are really strong because chess has become very theoretical these days. You have a lot of engines to prepare with. But what Magnus Carlsen always does is he throws the player off the theory and he's really good at it and he can always make new moves. There's a novelty part to it. Not many players are very comfortable with novelty, making a new move, things like that. Ding Liren is really good at that. So he makes these things. He goes way out of the preparation and making moves.
He's just been on a streak now, no?
Yes.
What is the streak?
So in the world rapid championship, I guess. So he won against. I'm not exactly sure about the player. I guess I forgot. I'm sorry. So he won 2 to 3 games in that. It was actually a chess tour. It was a grand chess tour where you go to different countries and play tournaments and there'll be points and you have to go up the leaderboard and things like that. So he was on a roll and he finally won that.
Okay, but he's been on a no losing streak for a long time, no?
Actually, sorry, Magnus Carlsen won that, but he won the according to points. Magnus Carlsen, won on the leaderboard, but then I got confused. According to the money, Magnus Carlsen got the highest thing, but the tournament was won by Ding Liren.
Okay.
So the streak is not by Carlsen then?
Streak is not
by
Or
Carlsen.
has been broken.
Streak
So-
is not okay.
Magnus Carlsen won a lot of tournaments, but he got kicked out in the final stage.
Okay.
So, but as far as the money is concerned, he got a lot of money out of it, but Ding Liren won the
So
tournament.
what do you mean he got kicked out of the? It's a knockout tournament, is it?
Yeah, in the final stage, it was a knockout tournament where I actually forgot whom he played with.
Most of these tournaments are league, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
What we understand as round robins.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
as far as chess is concerned, I'm still learning the jargons.
So you like puzzles?
Yeah.
You like to solve things. You like to exercise your brain. Maybe we should give him a puzzle if you have one in mind.
Yeah. I think you have a car. You have 4 wheels to this car. Wonderful. Fine. So each of these wheels can run for 400 kilometers. So you have a wonderful car and you have to go. When I tell you have only 4 wheels, I'm giving you 1 more wheel. Have that, keep it in your boot and go. You have to travel. What is the maximum distance you can travel?
Takes a bit to think about it.
So each tire can go
400
400
kilometers.
kilometers.
I'm not giving you 8 tires. I'm giving you these 4 and 1 more. That's it. Can you do any more than 400?
Okay. Yes, you can go more than 400.
Okay.
Do you want to work it out?
You want pen and paper or you're comfortable?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Comfortable. All right. I sometimes find them just scribbling hands. I can also pretend to be thinking.
You want to take us through your thought process? What you're thinking?
So probably I'd say that you go to certain distance and then change that one particular wheel. You cannot go 400 kilometers because you burn out all the 4 tires. Each tire can go up to only 400, so you cannot replace anything with that. So you should probably do that in steps, as in like you go say cover 100 kilometers and then change that tire, and thinking in that terms.
Okay. And then what will you do with the tire that has run the 100 kilometers? You'll replace it even before it has burnt out completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what.
Okay. So what will you do? When should you do it? Let's pick an arbitrary point. Let's say after 200 kilometers we replace one tire.
Okay.
So we have A, B, C, D and 1. The replacement tire. We take out A and put in 1.
Yes.
But another 200 kilometers I'm still going to run out.
Okay.
So what will you do now? This A I have has 200 kilometers worth running still in it. And I have B, C, D that are at 200, 200, 200 and number 1 which is run 0. So 1 can run. What do you do? Let's just do an iterative process.
Okay.
After how many kilometers do you want to replace something?
Probably say next 100 kilometers.
So let's say after 100 more kilometers, I take out B and put in A inside. So C and D have run 300, 300. B has run 300 but is sitting outside. A has run 200 and 1 has run 100. That's still there. So now I keep going. Now my trouble is with C and D.
C and D, yes.
When will you replace? Both of them have only 100 kilometers in them.
Yes. Even if it is 50, then again it will become a problem.
Why will it be a problem?
So, suppose if it is 50, then you replace that, say C with the
replacement tire. Keep C outside, and then.
So this would have
we have gone to 350.
Yes.
Okay.
So D has a problem.
D has only 50 left in.
50 left. So
go to 400.
And then replace the tire. And that has another 50 kilometers, I guess.
Correct.
So you can go another 50.
Up to 450.
450.
Is there any tire that has done less than 400? Are we wasting something? So we've gone to 450. We found a mechanism. Replace at 200, replace at 300, replace at 350. At 400, D gets out. My replacement tire at that point of time has 50 kilometers in it. That's the maximum C can go anyway. So 450 we have gone to. Is there anything to see is there something better? Then one of my tires should have D is completely burnt, C is completely burnt. Is there something that's not burnt? Is there something that still has gas in the tank? You want pen, paper?
A sat out after 200.
After so 200.
Yeah.
But A came back. We probably need a pen. So let's work this out. Do you have any questions for us?
I would actually know, for professors, it's very monotonous in some way. You know, people go to teach classes and they'll be teaching that over and over. What will be your way out? As in, teaching becomes sometimes, even though it is, an interesting part, you're teaching to a bunch of students who are different, who ask different kinds of questions. At some point, it becomes monotonous. How do you handle that?
So first off, we don't offer the same courses. We introduce new courses all the time. We withdraw older courses. We update ourselves. We do a lot of consulting work.
A lot of research work also.
We do research work. We do that as well.
Okay.
Right? We move around. We collaborate with foreign universities and professors from there. So I think a professor's life is not as boring as you might think.
Okay.
Can be quite engaging. Yes.
Wonderful.